welcome back to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda, and here are the DIYs I'm working on today. I finally got my hands on one of these nice white plastic trays that you get at the Dollar Tree, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it when I saw it. The first thing I did was peel that label off, and then I got out my scrapbook paper and picked out a nice picture that I wanted to use. I traced around the tray onto the back side of the scrapbook paper, making a large circle. And then I cut the circle out. Now, because I traced around the outside of the tray, I realized that the circle was going to be just a little bit larger than what the inside of the tray is actually. So this is sort of just a starting point, and you will have to trim down little by little as you go. Just take a little bit at a time. Don't take too much until your circle fits inside the tray. And then stick the scrapbook paper to the tray using Mod Podge. And I really like this thicker scrapbook paper that I got from Tuesday Mornings because there's no wrinkles at all with the Mod Podge. It lays in there perfectly straight. After I had the design all pressed down inside the tray, then I put another coat of Mod Podge on top for sealing. And that's all it took to transform this already really pretty tray into a cottage style beauty. The next DIY is making use of my Sola Wood Flowers, and I'm going to use the die that the company sent me to play with, and I have white, summer sky, and Tiffany blue. Now, I went to their Sola Wood Flower School YouTube video, and the lady said a cereal bowl of water. So that's kind of what I was aiming for, just a cereal bowl of water. And hot water is supposed to give you a more vibrant color. So I just used hot water out of the tap. You know, I didn't boil water for this. And you're supposed to use the whole contents of the 1 ounce bottle of dye. And you're supposed to mix it up very, very well because the dye is thick, kind of like paint, and it will settle to the bottom of the bowl. So you need to keep it mixed up very well. Now you need to have a paper towel for the flowers to lay on after you've dipped them. And when you dip the flowers into the dye immediately colors the flowers. It doesn't take, like, they don't have to sit in the water. Just a couple of dunks will do it, and let that water and excess paint or dye just kind of drip off. And then you're ready to fluff your flower. And that's what I'm doing right here, where you just gently pull the petals down to make it more like a blossoming flower. And this is my first time dyeing Sola Wood Flowers, and I was really amazed how soft and velvety these flowers get. You know, they're made of wood. I don't know how it happens. It's kind of magical, but it really is fun to do this. I really had fun dyeing these and fluffing out the pretty petals. Now this summer sky color, oh my gosh, it was so vibrant and pretty. I really loved this color. I was a little afraid of doing this without gloves, but the woman in the video didn't wear gloves, so I figured, I guess it must not dye your skin. And it didn't. Whatever little remnants of dye that was on my hands washed off completely when I was finished with just hand soap. I wasn't really sure what the white dye was going to, if it was going to do very much at all, since these are pretty much a off-white color to begin with. I thought maybe it might whiten them a little more, and that's pretty much exactly what it did. It didn't do a whole lot, but it just brightened them slightly. Maybe the white is actually supposed to be used for mixing different colors and making paler or more pastel colors. I decided, instead of arranging these flowers in the centerpiece box that came with my order, I'm going to put them on this embroidery hoop. Well, one part of an embroidery hoop. The other outside part with the metal screw I've already used for another DIY. So this is the inside ring to a large embroidery hoop. And you can get those at Walmart for like $2.97. Don't quote me on that, but less than $3, I'm sure. Now, these floral picks came from Joann Fabric, and I got them on clearance really cheap last summer or fall, it might have been. And I'm just going to use a zip tie to stick them to the center bottom of this hoop. And I love using zip ties when I'm doing florals, because then if I ever want to disassemble this, use it for something else, then all I have to do is cut that zip tie off and I can use that greenery for another project. Now I'm going to hot glue my dip dyed Sola Wood flowers onto the bottom of the embroidery hoop, and I'm putting the largest flower, which is the Tiffany blue color, right in the center, and then I'm going to arrange the other flowers to each side. Then I thought the arrangement needed a little more going up each side of the hoop, so I got some more greenery and I tucked them behind the other greenery and just arranged them off to the sides, and I put them in place using floral wire. And that extra bit of greenery made me a lot happier. Now we need to make a hanger for our hoop, and I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon with the lace in the center that came from Dollar Tree. And I just made a really simple loop. I hot glued it together, and then I hid where the two pieces were hot glued together by hot gluing that to the hoop. That, like, the seam where I hot glued that ribbon together is hot glued to the hoop. There we go. And so now, since I used my Sola Wood flowers to make this hoop arrangement, I have to order some more so that I can make a centerpiece arrangement with the box that they sent me. And if you want to get some Sola Wood flowers, I have a link in my description box where you can go and shop for your own. This DIY I had such hopes for. I thought that I would use this round piece from the Dollar Tree sign and this Dollar Tree iron-on transfer to make a miniature wood round. Now, my good friend Sammy Veltri over at Unicorn Dust Designs, she is the queen of wood rounds, and she's gonna laugh at me today. I'm just quite sure of it, because this is my first attempt ever at a wood round, and I wasn't even using real wood. This is just a Dollar Tree little MDF sign, and so I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to do this as best I can. I'm going to paint this as smoothly as I can. I wanted everything to be nice and smooth and crisp, clean lines, and just smooth and nice. But yeah, this DIY takes a turn. Now, not necessarily for the worse, because I'm able to salvage it. I am the distressed princess, and so if that gives you any clue, this does get distressed. Instead of being smooth, it will be distressed. So here was really my first mistake, was putting this Mod Podge. And the reason I thought to put the Mod Podge was because I thought that this needed some tackiness to it in order for the iron-on transfer to stick. Now, mind you, this iron-on transfer isn't really made for wood to begin with. It's supposed to go on like a t-shirt or something. So anyway, I thought put the Mod Podge on. I dried the Mod Podge thoroughly with my hair dryer before I moved on to the next step, and that was where I wanted to tape off my wood round and make the top part another color. And I put my transfer down there so I would know where I needed, how much room I needed, but see what it did? I swear that Mod Podge was dry. It was dry, but yeah, anything that laid on top of it just peeled up. And so I patted it back down and I got my hair dryer back out and I dried it some more. Actually, no, that wasn't really my first mistake, because you can see a couple places on the bottom half of that wood round that the paper part of the thing peeled up when I was painting. Anyhow, yeah, I already had some imperfections before I put the Mod Podge. Moving on, then I put my tape down and then I could paint the top part. And I decided to go with Waverly chalk paint in the color Crystal. And it's just a very, very pale grayish blue color. Right before I began to paint, I decided that my tape was a little crooked, and so I went to peel it up and replace it, and all of that Mod Podge came off like rubber. Look at this. It's like latex. It was the weirdest thing. But also note the distressing that it left behind. Okay, so then all hope for this being a crisp, clean, smooth project is gone. Now it's a distressed project. Moving on, I put my tape back down and painted my top part with the Waverly chalk paint in Crystal. But, you know, I still thought that I needed that Mod Podge so that my iron-on transfer would stick. And I didn't plan to tape off anything else, so I didn't think that anything else would, you know, be peeling it up like it did before. So I slapped another coat of Mod Podge on this wood round. I had my iron off to the side, heating up on its maximum heat setting. And these iron-on transfers come with just the transfer itself, and then it comes with a piece of parchment paper that you lay on top. And then you put your iron on top of both pieces. So I centered my design and I put my parchment paper, and then I began to iron. And now the instructions say to iron for 60 seconds and to keep moving. And so that's what I did. I was really half expecting for the design to peel right off with the paper. Now, the parchment paper stuck to the Mod Podge, as you see up there at the top, and made a little bit of a mess. And then when I peeled off the transfer paper, lo and behold, the design stayed stuck down. But the Mod Podge was coming up in sort of a stringy, sticky mess. But hey, I was counting it as a success because all I really wanted was for that design to stay stuck down, and it did. So in order to try to get rid of some of the sticky mess, I sanded it, and so that caused even more distressing. And then I was going to actually paint another line, but I didn't want to try to go through taping off anything and risk having that Mod Podge all come off again like it did and ruining the whole work that I've put into this. So instead, I just used a piece of this, I don't know what kind of ribbon you call this. It's from the Dollar Tree, and it has kind of like a crochet and a jute string, and I put it on the line separating the two colors and wrapped it around the back. Using hot glue, of course. Now we've already come this far, so why don't we just keep going? And so I decided to add some greenery up there at the top of the design. And so I just hot glued that down with a lot of hot glue. And put another one of my Sola Wood Flowers that I had left over right in the center. And for all the trouble I had trying to make this tiny miniature wood round, I wound up loving it so much. And what the heck, I'm the distressed princess, so most of my work should be distressed anyway, right? And here's another look at all the cottage style DIYs today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed all the cottage style DIYs as much as I loved making them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.